Hi, my name is Jamila Smith. I've been contemplating doing this for a long time. I kind of didn't really know how to start it or even how to end it, but I know right now might be the time to be able to just open up. I'm here to discuss my story, my domestic violence story, and where I'm at right now. Hopefully, after this, I be able to get my feelings out, as well as maybe get some advice, but also help somebody else in the same situation I was in or I am currently still in, technically. So, let's start from the beginning. My wife, and we're just gonna call her Izzy at this point. I met Izzy January 19th of 2019. I met her on Tinder. What I was looking for wasn't a relationship, considering I had just gotten out of one. What I was looking for was just somebody who I could be intimate with and then, or have a friend, or both, even. But when we came face to face for the first time, I don't know, but there was a connection. How do I say it? You kind of understood a person before you even started talking. That's how I felt with Isabel. And the more we got to know each other, the more we began to connect. She told me about her life and where she was at. I told her about my life and where she was at. One night turned into a whole weekend. And the whole weekend, it turned into a relationship. Izzy actually proposed to me the first night we met in a certain way. She actually had done a spiritual ceremony where we were bound together emotionally. And 3 weeks later, we got married on February 8th. I know that that's a really short time to marry somebody, but it's what we did. It might have been the first slightly red flag. But I don't know. I fell for her fast and I fell for her hard. But soon after we were married, we already kind of had some slight issues. Izzy had cheated on me with her ex before a wedding and cheated on me again with her ex a month after we were married. Obviously, I was unhappy about it at first, but either naively or just plain dumbly, I took her back. We didn't break up, but it was something we've talked about, and she told me she'd never do it again. Not only that, but a month after we were married, she opened up to me about a little bit more she hadn't told me before. See, Izzy had told me she was a doctor and that she had been in the military in the Air Force. I believed her because it seemed like she had legitimate proof. But then she told me that she wasn't a doctor. She had a doctrine in divinity, but she wasn't an actual medical doctor like I thought. Not only that, but she also wasn't in the military. Sorry, I stutter. But yeah, she wasn't in the military like I fought. But through talking about it, her saying she was just scared that I wouldn't love her for who she was, she didn't open up. But I still did love her because it meant a lot to me. And the fact that she was opening up a month after we were married should have been the second red flag. But I still decided to be with her. But then things started going downhill slowly. First, there was the slight issue she had that I would do without her. Meaning, when I ate without her, she got upset. When I slept without her, she got upset. If I did anything without her, she got upset. And I thought it was weird. And then over time, I found it extremely irritating. I still stayed with her. But then things with her family started coming up. Her mom had her own issues, and it started to bleed in our own relationship because basically we would stay up all night waiting for her mom to come home, and me just trying to comfort Isabel when she got upset. Not only that, but then she started getting upset with me whenever I would want something. Like, if I wanted to cook, she would get upset. If I wanted to write in my diary, she would get really upset and would even take the diary away from me. And it really started affecting me emotionally because it made me think, why can't I do anything by myself? Was I not worth enough? Could I not be independent because I wasn't good enough to be independent? And things started getting worse. In May, it was the first time I saw Izzy's drug habit. And I hate to admit it, but I tried it myself too. She was addicted to crack, but I didn't know it. But the way that Izzy was acting, it made me start to think, was there a problem? But I tried it with her just so that I could be close to her because I'm going to be close any other way that wasn't my way, and her way made me unhappy. And I tried it, but I didn't feel anything. So I didn't do it. And Izzy told me that she wouldn't do it again. And then actually, I had attempted to commit suicide once in May with everything with her family and what she was doing to me. I was so unhappy and I felt so trapped and isolated and alone. I thought that was my only way out. I already have a history of suicide attempts as it is, but nobody really knew about it except for one time. This is the second time someone knew about it, but instead of trying to help me, Izzy went off on me, telling me that I was selfish, that how could I do this? Her forcing her finger down my throat, trying to make me puke up the pills I had swallowed, getting on top of me and slapping me, and even sticking an EpiPen in me just to keep my heart beating. And it took her 5 minutes until she decided to call poison control, and they told her to call an ambulance. And the last thing I remember was getting on a stretcher. Obviously, I survived, but at the time, I was thinking I should have just died because of how she reacted. I wanted to die faster. And after that, we kind of worked some things out, and we decided we were going to go to Puerto Rico to live there because the economy was good. They didn't tax on anything. And even just finally being away from her family. And we tried. We got on an airplane. First we went to Chicago for a layover, and then we went to Miami, Florida. And we didn't end up going to Puerto Rico because the flight was expensive, so we decided on Florida. And that was a whole event on its own. We ended up homeless in Florida, actually. We were sleeping on sidewalks, in train stations. We were everywhere. And then we got help, and we came back up to Michigan. We were still homeless, but we were back somewhere where we could get a lot more help from. And then we moved to the city we're in now. I'm just gonna keep that discreet. But yeah, we ended up getting some help, and long story short, we ended up in an apartment. And that's when things started getting worse. Izzy was already physically and emotionally abusive towards me, but when we moved into the apartment, she started getting worse. I still remember one time she was yelling at me for something, I don't know what, and I barricaded myself in one of the rooms because it was the only place I could try to calm down, because I knew if I had stayed outside, I would have just lost my cool. But she tried barging in. I wouldn't let her, so she started forcing her way in, and she ended up hitting me over and over again, and ended up kicking me in the stomach because I refused to get on the bed. But I don't know why I stayed, because she had threatened to kill herself if I had left, and she threatened to kill herself several times already if I had left. And over time, things just kept getting worse. She kept being more emotionally abusive, more controlling, more manipulative. It had gotten to the point that I was so stressed and depressed that I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, wasn't doing anything. All I was doing was worrying. Was worrying about her and what she was doing. I was worrying if she would come home at night whenever she would leave and wouldn't come back until early in the morning from the bar. I had ended up losing 7 pounds. And I was already 117 pounds from the start. I ended up down to 110. and I wasn't eating at all. I was just stressed and worried and depressed. I didn't even leave the bed, and yet she still got on me. See, Izzy had this idea in her head. I don't know what the idea was, but she wanted me to be a specific way. I just wasn't trying to be that way because it wasn't who I was. I am a Wiccan, goth, weird, artistic girl. That's just who I am. But she was trying to change that. I fought hard against everything she had done, but she had beaten me down so much. I tried being what she wanted to be, but it made me so unhappy. I was miserable for months. I tried anyway. And I made friends with who she wanted to be friends with. I didn't say anything when she had done something stupid. I was just quiet. I didn't want to really be a part of anything. Sometimes I would cry at night, just wishing for a better outcome than this. Something better than what I was in now. And then things started kind of becoming a little suspicious. Like, she would get all dressed up in makeup from head to toe in very revealing clothing and heels and would leave out late at night and wouldn't come back until the morning. I didn't know what was up, but I had my suspicions. And then, October the 1st, 2019, there was this event I don't think I'll ever be able to forget out of my head. But she told me she was going to go out, get cigarettes, and half of our rent money. She didn't come back until 7 o'clock at night. All day, I was worried about her. I was worried where she was calling all of her friends to figure out if they've seen her, trying to figure out where she was, and was scared she could be hurt or even killed. And then she came back with somebody who I could tell after just like a minute of conversating that she was on meth because she was repeating the phrases over and over again. That's when I realized, and I was high, mind you, was high on weed. I actually had an epitome. I can't be with her anymore. She's draining me. She's killing me. I'm not being treated the way she was expecting me to be treated. I wasn't being treated the way I wanted to be treated. And this wasn't worth it. This marriage wasn't worth it. Even though I made a promise to myself when I was a kid, if I got married, I wouldn't divorce, no matter what. I would try to work something out. If only she could see that now. But Izzy came home. My friends later told me that she looked like she was on meth. I told Izzy I wanted a divorce or I wanted to separate, at least. And she got mad at me, told me that you're gonna get mad over this one little thing. Mind you, this one little thing included not coming home, using all of her money, not trying to call me, and only saying, sorry, I went camping. That one little thing was a pretty big fuck up. And I just stood my ground. I told her I wanted to separate. I couldn't do this anymore. She ended up attacking me. She ended up punching me, tackling me to the ground, and pulling my hair. And I was screaming until somebody actually came and helped me. If the one guy who stayed, who knew something was going to happen, if he wasn't there waiting in his car, I don't know what could have happened. But Izzy got arrested, and I ended up going to a domestic violence shelter for a couple of months, trying to get my life together again. And I did. I got everything separated. I worked really hard to get the apartment I'm in now. I still have my cat and my guinea pig. And I've been happier. But I've always needed to have closure from Izzy. I needed to know what had happened and why she did it and why she treated me the way she did. And surprisingly, I saw her Christmas Day, and she was a lot different than what I was expecting. I didn't know what I was expecting. I was expecting the same Izzy I known forever, and it was a complete 180. She was reserved. She let me talk. She let me actually express how I feel. I was able to actually talk and tell her how I felt throughout the marriage and why I was so unhappy and why I wanted to separate. And she actually understood that. She listened and understood, and that was something I wasn't expecting at all. I don't know. She was just different. And now I'm at a point where I don't know what to feel or how to feel because on one hand, obviously I want her back cuz she's my wife. She's someone I cared about, someone I went through literally being in the midst of her family's drama, being homeless, actually having a place to stay. I've been with that through everything. I've never been with anybody like that before. On top of it, I've seen the changes in her, and she told me that she's willing to change. She's willing to be better than what she was, willing to let me have control in the marriage. But then on the other hand, part of me doesn't quite believe it. And that's why I don't want to jump back into it. I want to see how Izzy is with everything. I want to see how she is with other people, how she is when I make a suggestion about something. And I know people are going to tell me that I shouldn't go back to her and I should just get the divorce. The truth is, and this is the hardest part, it's not that simple. It's not like I can just say, oh yeah, I'll totally get the divorce. See ya, gonna wanna be ya. I can't just do that because this is probably the one relationship I really wanted to fight for. And if Izzy's willing to actually change, I want to at least see slowly but surely where this could go. I want to see over time if she can prove to me she deserves a second chance. It's just been hard trying to figure out if I'm making the right choice or if I'm going to disappoint people or make them angry or disown me. that's the part that's kind of a really hard part. That's the part that hurts because I'm not used to making a decision on my own. This is the first time in my life I've really made a decision on my own that was really mine. And having everybody constantly tell me what I should do and what I shouldn't do, it's hard and it sucks. And I don't even know if it's the right choice. I don't even know if the choice I'm making is the right choice. It's kind of why I'm just seeing where things go and where things are. I want to see it for myself. I want to make a decision for myself. And I love her so much. She meant a lot to me. She means a lot to me. I don't want to just give up, especially if she might actually be better than what she was. She's actually a lot better than what she was. That's what I want to see. I hope that my story helps somebody and what I'm at. And feel free to leave a comment or don't. I don't really care. But I'll let you know over time if I made a good choice or not. Thanks for listening.